بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأصلي وأسلم على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما تنفعنا به يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما مباركا ميمونا ولا تجعل فينا ولا منا ولا معنا شقيا ولا محروما. Welcome back, brothers and sisters, to our second and final sitting, going through the text شروط وآداب حفظ القرآن وطرق مراجعته by Imam Abil Hassan al-Kurdi. Inshallah ta'ala, we have about 30 lines of the text left. Inshallah ta'ala, it won't be a very long session. We'll try to go through it as promptly as possible, inshallah ta'ala. And we have one of our brothers who will be reading the text for us. And we'll comment where necessary, inshallah ta'ala. And where we are able to provide extra benefits, we shall do so, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, so they're not ready yet. So let us get started anyway, inshallah ta'ala. قال الشيخ رحمه الله تعالى: إن شئت فاحفظ 5 آيات فقط في كل يوم طيب الأركان، مجموعها 50 مع 100 إذا في كل شهر يا أولي الحسبان. راجع وكرر ما حفظت بلا ملل واكتبه مشروحا بعض معاني. Line number 15. Line number 16. Line number 16.
إن شئت فأحفظ 5 آيات فقط في كل يوم طيب الأركان.
Inshallah, just the English.
If you will, then only 5 verses per day of healthy prayers.
Continue.
17. So the sum of it will be 150 verses after each month if you calculate. 18. Review and repeat what you memorized without boredom, and write it down explained with some meanings.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. So in our previous session, we had the first template that the Shaykh gave of how to memorize the Quran al-Karim. And the Shaykh mentioned that a nice way to start off for a beginner is to memorize 3 lines after every single prayer. And to do this for 6 days a week. And this will then lead to 90 lines in a week. And for the person after this to use the 7th day in the week to do muraja'ah and to review the Quran and to practice and go over what he has learned during that week. The Shaykh over here goes through the second template. And I mentioned this in the previous class. These are just examples and templates that the Shaykh gives. You don't need to follow it necessarily, but this is just a nice way to see how easy it is to memorize the Quran. In the example before, memorizing 3 lines after every prayer and memorizing that much means that that person can learn a lot of Quran. And we also said that person who memorizes just 1 day a day, this person will finish the Quran in less than 2 years. The Quran is an easy task. What makes it difficult is our lives and the distractions that we have, the shaitan and different things that take us away from the path of the Quran. Really and truly, it's not something which is difficult. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. We have made the Quran easy for people to learn and study and to remember. So this is the second example. The Shaykh is saying that the person should memorize 5 verses. 5 verses. If you memorize 5 verses, the Shaykh says after 1 month, how many verses will you have? What is 30 times 5? 150, right? 30 times 5 is 150. 5 verses a day. This is template number 2. After 1 month, you will have memorized 150 ayat. This is another example. This is not based on Quran or Sunnah or Revelation. You have to follow what the Shaykh is saying. It's just examples to see how much you can do. Remember, a mountain is formed of small what? What did you say? Rocks, right? And the ocean is formed of small water droplets, right? So when you do something step by step, slowly, it becomes something greater than it. The Shaykh then said in line number 18 that we should then review and repeat what we have memorized without boredom. Don't become bored from the Quran. Always review the Quran. A person finds rest with the Quran, not avoiding it. There is nothing boring about the Quran. If you ever even feel the slightest type of boredom, this is the shaitan. So a person doesn't feel bored. He always reads the Quran. He feels energized when he reads the Quran. You feel happier when you read the Quran. مَا أَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الْقُرْآنَ لِتَشْقَى. We haven't revealed the Quran for you to be sad. So a person continues to read and read and read and read until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it easy on his tongue. You can recall everything. Imagine if you are a hafiz of the Quran. You can read however much Quran you want, wherever from the Quran you want, whenever you want. Imagine that. It's a big grace and fadl from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you pray in Ramadan, you pray behind the Imam. There are some people following the Imam from the Mus'haf. They open up the Mus'haf in the Salah. And there are other people, other Muslims that follow the Imam with their heart. They have the Quran in their hearts. They follow from their hearts. So the Shaykh said, review and repeat. He also said, try to write it down. Try to write down some of the benefits, some of the explanation of the words, the ayat. This will help you remember. And it's also not about remembering, but it's also mazid al-ilm, an increase and additional knowledge that you need. A person doesn't learn the words of the Quran only. A person has to know the meanings of the words of the Quran. Allah has memorized ever since we were babies. If you were to be asked, وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ. What is غاسق? Right? What is waqab? A lot of us don't know that. But we know this from a young age. It's not right. وَمِن شَرِّ الْوَسْوَاسِ الْخَنَّاسِ. What is al-khannas? The person will say, I have no idea what al-khannas is. I just know this al-khannas is. That's not how it works. A person should make time for this. And one thing I would say over here with regards to meaning and tafsir is 2 things. The first thing is, as an adult, you are not like a child. Children who go to madrasa, or go to duksi, or go to maktab, they are young. So they can just memorize the Quran and go through the meanings later. But as adults yourselves, you have to memorize and understand at the same time. You have to have a program where you learn the Quran, the words, you memorize it, and you also understand it. And nowadays we have 2 extremes. People who just push memorization and ignore understanding and fahm. And then you have another group who recently started doing this as well. And they're just talking about understanding without memorizing. And both are wrong. If you've understood everything, but you don't know where the ayat are located, what have you understood? You don't even understand where the ayat are, you don't understand anything further. Right? And if you know the Quran and memorize it, it's good, it's a very good thing. But you need to go to the next level, which is to understand. That's the first thing we'll say. So we say we need to do both together, and we don't prefer one over the other. The second thing we'd say is, this is tadreej, it is step by step. You don't have to go through the orthodox big tafsir at the beginning of your journey. But at least have some understanding of what's going on. Have a basic understanding. I know Surah Al-Fatiha was speaking about. I I know Surah Al-Nas what it's speaking about. I have an understanding of what Surah Al-Baqarah is speaking about. Surah Al-Ikhlas, it is a surah that is equivalent to a third of the Quran. I know what's inside the surah. That's why it's equivalent to a third of the Quran. Then you move on, then the second stage, then the third stage, then a small tafsir, then the next tafsir, then the next tafsir. That's how a person does it. Things are done systematically. The main thing is that your heart must be open to it. And you must know the importance of knowing the meanings of the Quran.
19, right?
Yeah.
Review with the companions at your time of reunion and give advice to the brothers and sisters. 20. A recitation through a phone call, even if one verse, is better than useless chatter.
The Shaykh, he said, راجع مع الأصحاب في وقت اللقاء. Review the Quran with your companions at the time of meeting. You all have friends, you all have companions. Make sure your friends are the top tier, the best of friends to have in the dunya. And they are friends that you can bond over the Quran with. You can read the Quran with one another, they can read to you, you can benefit one another, study together. Wallahi, this is the best friendship. The people that I have befriended over the years over the Quran, they are the closest people to me in the whole world. And this is something that's easy to be heard and easy to be said, but very difficult to comprehend if you don't do it. It may seem to you like, okay, interesting, but you won't know that if you don't tread that path. So a person has to have friends like that. And it's not only about the study and the path, it's more about the heart. And your life as a Muslim, you're in need of this to soften your heart, right? So these are the friends that you really need. Try to have as many of them as possible, inshallah ta'ala. Every time you meet, the Shaykh is saying, review the Quran together. Do you want to read today? Should I read today? And have a systematic approach, like I said for the tafsir. Don't just say, do you read, do I read? Have a dose that you have between yourselves once a week, twice a week. You meet, you review the Quran. The scholars, they say, al-ilmu bayna al-talameen. Knowledge is between students. The people of the past, when the ulama would come and teach the rules, they would sit. The Shaykh would sit, teach. When the Shaykh leaves, the students stay behind. They don't go. The Shaykh leaves. And then the students stay and they repeat the class again. What did you understand from what the Shaykh said? I understood this. What did you understand? I understood this. Let's review it together. Did the Shaykh mean that? Did the Shaykh mean that? So you benefit more. It's very important. And if the greatest knowledge, it is the Quran and the knowledge which is attached and associated to the Quran, then the people attached and associated to the Quran are the best. Make them your friends. The Quran is the best form of knowledge. And the people attached to the Quran are the best of people. That means, logically, those people are going to be the best of friends. And they're going to have a high virtue in your life. And you will have the same for them as well. The Shaykh is saying, even if it's a recitation through a phone call, وَقِرَاءَةٌ فِي هَاتِفٍ لَوْ even if it's on the phone, you don't need to very far away, different land, different countries. You would have called this person on the phone anyway. And the Shaykh said, a phone call is better than useless chatter. Calling the person, hello, how are you, what are you doing, I'm doing this, how's your day, where do you work? It doesn't have no fa'idah. There's no fa'idah whatsoever. What benefit does that have? It didn't increase your iman, it didn't increase your wealth, it didn't increase you in lifespan, it didn't increase you in anything. But reading the Quran increases your iman. Reading the Quran increases you in your spirituality. It brings you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It increases your knowledge, you understand more of the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what Allah says to do. So you utilize, the Shaykh is saying, utilize every opportunity. Whether you meet physically, whether it's on the phone, your friends are your friends because of the Quran. So we've understood 2 points. Firstly, we need to have a lot of these friends. And secondly, we need to ensure that our friendship is based on this, not useless interactions. Useless interactions are not good. The person just spending his days and nights just meeting people and just socializing and just going out to drink coffee. And before, we used to say back in the day that the uncles, they always, from different countries, different uncles, they're always in the coffee shops just talking. That's what people say. I started sharing this in London. I said the youth are the same. They're the same, exactly the same. The uncles are always in the coffee shops. You are the same. And the uncles are in the maqayib. You are in your dessert shop having milkshake. It's the same principle. So this is wrong. And the uncles and the aba and our parents, they don't waste their time. They're providing all day and they're working all day, and they take a little break. But the brothers and maybe the sisters do it as well. This is not something which is good for you, especially in the beginning of your journey. In the beginning of your journey, remember, it's a tender time. You don't want to lose this time. There's this time of youth doesn't come back. It doesn't come back. اغتنم 5 قبل 5. Benefit from 5 before other 5. Prophet said one of them, وشبابك قبل هرمك. Your youth before you become old. نعمتان مغبور فيهما كثير من الناس الصحة والفراغ. Prophet said two blessings. People they don't utilize it. It is free time. So your free time goes to the Quran. It goes back and invested back into the Book of Allah. Not in useless chatter and useless interactions. Now, as a human being, you need a break. Don't understand from my words that, there's no break, there's no time out. You need one. You're a human being, right? We're saying, don't make that your way of life. Well, that's the difference. So no one will say to you, no break, your mind will need a time out. But make sure it is. There was a brother I used to teach in London a long time ago. And I told him this system. So one time he came to me and he said, okay, can you check my timetable? Was it good? As he told me, he said, I memorize Quran for 1 hour and then I take a break for 1 hour. That's terrible. Memorize 1 hour? Why is the break so long? Why is the break the same as the class? 1 hour, maybe 10 minutes break. 15 max. But one. What, you don't benefit anything at the end of the day. Your breaks are too much. SubhanAllah, you're right. So in short, the main point here is that you utilize your time correctly. Now,
21. Recite what you memorized in your night prayers, for night is the time of beneficence kindness. 22. Recite in the other prayers as well. And be grateful towards your Rabb, whose kingdom is vast.
طيب الشيخ ينسى واقرأ بوردك في قيامك بالتجاه. Make sure you recite the Quran in the night prayer. The night prayer assists the Muslim to sharpen his memory. The night prayer assists the Muslim to sharpen his memory. This is a very, very blessed time. Especially the last third, if Allah gives you tawfiq to wake up, now it's easy. I mentioned that the other day in the federal reflection. It's very easy. Look, Isha now in Jama'ah, in this masjid is 8 o'clock, other masajid are even before that. And then Fajr is 6:45. You have so many hours of sleep. You can wake up easily. I can wake up naturally until I've been here. Naturally waking up very early. Because the person sleeps and rests and recharges and you will wake up. The Quran that you read there, first in this time, is a blessed time. It's the time that Allah descends to the first sky, the lowest sky. And Allah descends in a way that befits His Majesty. And is anybody going to ask, so I may give, anybody going to repent, so I may accept, anybody going to seek forgiveness, so I may forgive them. So you are benefiting from that time as well. But on top of that, you are sharpening your memory as well, reading the Quran. إِنَّ نَاشِئَةَ اللَّيْلِ هِيَ أَشَدُّ وَطَئًا وَأَقْوَمُ قِيلًا. A lot of the ulama, they say that Qiyamul Layl, it is mu'akkad on the person of the Quran. It's a sunnah, mustahab, it's not a farad. According to some of the scholars, it was farad upon the Anbiya. But from the Ummah, it's not. Qiyamul Layl is not obligatory. However, it is mu'akkad, it's more emphasized, more recommended upon the person of the Quran. Because Qiyamul Layl, the whole muhimma, objective of it is to read the Quran. So because you know Quran, naturally it's going to become more of a responsibility upon you. So over here, a person tries their best to wake up and read the Quran. Even if you wake up and you pray 5, 10, 15 minutes before Fajr. And slowly you work your way backwards, 20 minutes before, 30 minutes before, 1 hour before, and you try your absolute best. أبيت سهران الدجى وتبيت ليلا ثم بعد ذاك تبغي لحاقي أو كما قال. I spend my hours in the night bonding with Allah, learning, reciting, praying Qiyamul Layl. وتبيت ليلا أو وتبيت نوما, and you spend your time sleeping. ثم تبغي بعد ذاك لحاقي, and after this you wish to be on my level. One of the people of the past, he said, people are not on the same level. Yawm al-Qiyamah, you can't get the highest station when you spend the entire night sleeping. You can't. You do want to be like the person who was spending the night praying Qiyamul Layl. But Allah is fair, He's Ahkamul Hakimin. You didn't make the effort, they made the effort. So they must be rewarded, and you must lose out on the reward. So a person says, no, I need to ensure that I spend my time correctly as well. So this is very important. A person wakes up in the night prayer, and he benefits from this time. He reviews the Quran and Kareem. And remember, the night prayer, it's a sunnah prayer, like we mentioned. So you can use the Mus'haf. A person may say, I don't know much Quran, what do I do? Use the Mus'haf. Hold the Mus'haf in your hand. Your phone, anything. Just don't get distracted with it too much. If you do that, it's allowed. Like we do it Taraweeh, Qiyam, Layl, Ramadan, etc. This is a time that has to be in the program of the student of knowledge, the student of the Quran. Qiyam, Layl.
23. Contemplate and look at the verses, for indeed doing so will help engraving them in your memory. 24. Preserve your heart from whims as much as you can, until your heart is enlightened with the Quran.
But the Shaykh said, contemplate and look at the verses, for indeed doing so will help engrave them in your memory. So the Shaykh spoke about how to memorize the Quran. The Shaykh spoke about understanding the Quran and the meaning and the importance. That higher level, above all of that, is tadabbur. Tadabbur is an-nazaru ila awaqib al-umur. For a person to look at the concluding matter of this affair. Okay, the ayah says this, I've understood this. What's after that now? How does that affect me? How do I reflect over this? Why did Allah say this? What are the lessons I should draw away from this? What message is Allah telling me through this ayah that I need to pay attention to? كتاب أنزلناه إليك مبارك ليدبروا آياته. A blessed book that we revealed upon you, Muhammad, in order for them to reflect over its verses. When Allah spoke about the reflection over the Quran, He said that it's something that everybody needs to do. And He said that if a person doesn't do it, it could be that there are lots upon their hearts. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Something important for us to mention over here. Tadabbur, it is like tafsir. In the sense that we know that nobody can just invent their own tafsir. We follow the tafsir of the ulama. This is what the scholars they said about this ayah. Everybody, if they would say, this is my version, I understand this. I asked you before, khannas and waqab and ghasiqin. I don't know what that means, but ghasiqin, I think it just makes something of us ma'ala, right? You have to look at what the ulama say about the ayah. The scholars they say, tadabbur is the same. If tadabbur is the same, and we have to see if the tadabbur is correct or not, how comes the entire ummah has been commanded to do tadabbur? They don't all have access to what the scholars they said. So how can I do an independent tadabbur and then be told my independent tadabbur is not right? The scholars they say there's a way to understand this. Everybody reflects over the Quran. If you can ensure that your tadabbur is correct by studying and checking with a person, verifying personal knowledge, that's ideal. If you cannot, then you still reflect over the Quran, but you keep your reflection to yourself. You keep your reflection to yourself. Because maybe it helps you with your iman, but it's not necessarily accurate. So because it's not necessarily accurate, you don't want to share it with people and then push out a tadabbur, that's not right. Clear? It is very important for us to know. What do we say? We say, try your best. The ideal level is to ensure your tadabbur is in line with what the scholars they say. If you can't do that, you still make tadabbur. But because you're unsure if this tadabbur is authentic, correct, and can be shared with the people, you keep it to yourself. It helps your own iman, right? Let's keep it to yourself. But eventually you need to get to the first stage, which is to verify your tadabbur. And there's ways to do that. And there's books and works that have been written on this subject. This will help a person engrave the ayat in his mind. Because imagine, brothers and sisters, I know Surah An-Nas, I memorize it, I understand it, I reflect over it, it's close to my heart. That means the hifz is going to be sharp. Surah An-Nisa, I know what it's speaking about, I understood it, I reflect over it. My hifz is going to be strong because I know what's going on. I know what's going on in the surah. So all of this is not just different things the Shaykh is saying for the sake of it, it's all to help your hifz. Tadabbur will help your hifz. But if you're confused, if you're absent-minded, you don't know what's going on in the Quran, it's going to make it difficult and challenging for a person to be able to memorize and to find his memory becoming strong. Now,
25. Pay attention to the similar verses.
Did you read 24? Maybe read 24 again?
24. Preserve your heart from whims as much as you can until your heart is enlightened with the Quran.
The Shaykh said, واحفظ فؤادك ما استطعت من الهوى. واحفظ فؤادك. Preserve and protect your fu'ad, your heart. ما استطعت, as much as you can, من الهوى, from desires. These things that are غير لائق for a person of Allah. It's غير لائق for any Muslim to do certain actions just to follow your whims and desires. Do as you please, be a loose cannon, act how you like. This is not good for the Muslim. But a person of Quran who's carrying the words of Allah in his or her heart, this is not right. So the Shaykh is saying, if you don't want Quran to be kept in your heart, then ensure that you don't follow your desires. The Shaykh says as much as you can. Which is the indication that here and there you may lose the battle. What's more important, losing the battle or losing the war? A battle and a war. Which one's more important to lose? Which one's more important to win? The war, right? So if you lose a battle with the shaitan today, just don't lose the war. You may not poison, right? Shaitan can sometimes overcome you. This is how it works. Just don't make sure you don't lose the war. And this is a continuous war. Today the shaitan got me, خلاص. Make tawbah, come back. The Shaykh is saying, وَاحْفَظْ فُؤَادَكَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتَ مِنَ الْهَوَى. If you do this, your heart will be enlightened in the Quran. When the bad things come out, the good things go in. One of the ways that a person benefits from the book of Allah Jalla wa Ala is that she purifies the vessel, the heart. That's where it goes in. وَإِنَّهُ لَتَنزِيلُ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ نَزَلَ بِهِ الرُّوحُ الْأَمِينُ عَلَى قَلْبِكَ لِتَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُنذِرِينَ بل هو آيات بينات في صدور الذين أوتوا العلم. The Quran enters into the hearts. The heart is the most important part of your body, of your life, of you. You need to ensure that this heart is taken care of. From the things you take care of, you ensure that you take your care of your heart through is the other limbs. Sometimes you see something, it affects the heart straight away. You hear something, it affects the heart. A person says like my heart is inside my chest. But your eyes and your heart are connected. So you see something haram, displeasing to Allah, something not good, your heart starts playing up. You hear something not good, your heart starts playing up. You find yourself in a bad place, your heart starts playing up. And this heart, you have to keep it safe by keeping all of the limbs safe. Keeping all of the limbs safe. Do not put your heart in danger. The Prophet said, the person's heart, if it's sound, then you are a sound person. If the person's heart is corrupt, you are a corrupt person. A person will say, don't judge me. Don't judge me. Hold on. It's Allah's job. It's not your job. Who made it your job? It's Allah's job. That's true. Yeah, as it is. There's some truth to what you're saying. But at the end of the day, a person is a nasih. He advises. The prophets, they used to give nasiha. Inni lakum nasihun alim. I am the nasih. Prophet said in the hadith of Tamim al-Dari, he said, أدير النصيحة. قلنا لمن يا رسول الله؟ قال لله ولكتابه ولرسوله ولأئمة المسلمين وعامتهم. You give nasiha to everybody. So a person here has to ensure that, okay, my eyes, my ears, my hands, my feet, everywhere I go, I protect them. You know, when you do that, you become from the awliya of Allah. Everyone wants to be a wali of Allah. There's ayat and hadith that speak about this. The hadith Qudsi mentions this. That a person who ensures that they are doing the right actions and stay away from the wrong actions, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when he completes all of the obligations and then he does the optional actions and he continues to worship Allah Jalla wa Ala like this, Allah says, كنت سمعه الذي يسمع به وبصره الذي يبصر به ويده التي يبطش بها ورجله التي يمشي بها ولئن سألني لأعطينه ولئن استعاذني لأعيذنه. Allah Jalla wa Ala says that I preserve his sight for him, his hearing, his hands, his feet. He doesn't see anything that is displeasing to Allah. He doesn't listen to anything that Allah Jalla wa Ala hates. He doesn't touch or go to anyone that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbidden. Every single part of his body is preserved. He is a person who is mahfuz. Allah Jalla wa Ala has preserved him. Not only this, because he's become a wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَلَئِنْ سَأَلَنِي, if he asks me anything, لَأُعْطِيَنَّهُ, Allah says, I will definitely give it to him. No, لَأُعْطِيَنَّهُ, I will give it to him. وَلَئِنْ اسْتَعَاذَنِي, if he seeks refuge with me from something, I will grant him that refuge. You become a person whose dua is mustajab. You become a person in this world who's walking on the earth and you are protected. You become a person, if you speak to Allah, you say, oh Allah, keep me safe from this, and Allah will grant it to you straight away. The same narration Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَمَنْ آذَانِ وَلِيًّا فَقَدْ أَعْلَمْتُهُ بِالْحَرْبِ. To show this is from the awliya of Allah, He said, wali. Anybody who harms a wali of mine, an ally of mine, a close friend of mine, he is waging war against me. So how do you do all of this? You do all of this by protecting your heart, by protecting your soul, by protecting your Islam, by protecting your Iman, and ensuring that you don't follow your desires. The Shaykh said, مَا اسْتَطَعْتَ. Now,
pay attention to the similar verses, for they are an aid for the memory and comprehension. 26. The similitude in the Quran is an endowment for the passionate and pondering student.
the Shaykh said, وَعَلَيْكَ بِالْمُتَشَابِهَاتِ فَإِنَّهَا عَوْنٌ لِحِفْظِ الذِّكْرِ وَالتِّبْيَانِ. A person has to pay attention to the ayat that are similar. From the attributes of the Quran is that it is kitaban mutashabiha. It's a book that resembles itself in the meaning, in the style, in the context, and in the ayat. There are loads of similar ayat. There are loads of identical ayat that are exactly the same. How can you really differentiate between this? You do what the Shaykh is saying by كثرة التكرار, excessive repetition. وعليك بالمتشابهات. Pay attention to the mutashabihat. This ayat looks like this ayat, this ayat looks like this ayat. Who will give us an example from the brothers? Ayat that look the same. Or maybe the same ayat in two different places in the Quran al-Kareem. Any example? From the sister, that example?
Surah Al-Mutaffifin has
Surah Al-Mutaffifin is also called Surah Al-Tatfif, has وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. And then
Surah Al-Mursalat.
Surah Al-Mursalat has a lot of them.
Yes.
Is there any other one? وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. Or is that it in the Quran? That is it. صح. What's another example? Yeah. فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. That is Surah Al-Rahman. How many of them are in Surah Al-Rahman? 34. Anyone else? 34. 30 something. Anyone else with the brothers? With regards to Surah Al-Rahman, when we were younger, we were taught by our mashayikh a way to memorize that surah. We were told, I still remember it, the qa'idah of Ar-Rahman, but we don't, alhamdulillah, we don't need it now. خَرَمَ يَوَكُ يَسَيَيُ فَفَيُّهَا وَذَفِيفِ. Sounds funny, huh? وَذَفِيفِ مُفِكَ هَوَمُ فِي حُلَ الْمُتَى. That's how to memorize Surah Al-Rahman. It's not something made up. Hocus pocus is real. خَرَمَ خَلَقَ الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ صَلْصَالٍ كَالْفَخَّارِ رَبُّ الْمَشْرِقَيْنِ وَرَبُّ الْمَغْرِبَيْنِ مِنْ مَرَجَ الْبَحْرَيْنِ يَلْتَقِيَانِ يَلْوَكُ يَخْرُجُ مِنْهُمَا اللُّؤْلُؤُ وَالْمَرْجَانُ وَلَهُ الْجَوَارِ الْمُنشَآتُ فِي الْبَحْرِ كَالْأَعْلَامِ كُلُّ مَنْ عَلَيْهَا فَانٍ يسأله من في السماوات والأرض كل يوم هو في شأن سنفرغ لكم أيها الثقلان يا معشر الجن والإنس تبدأن يرسل عليكم أشواط من نار تبدأن وهكذا. So you get to, for example, في three fees, that means three ayat that start with fa maksur. This helps. See, now I learned that in my younger days. Although I don't use it no more, I still remember it. And this is also in line with what the Shaykh is saying here. What I said before, in your younger years, what you memorize, it sticks with you. You don't forget it. I don't even use that anymore. I remember it very clearly. I remember even when I learned that, I tried to be smart. So I tried to make my own one for Wayl al-Mutaffifin. One was Salat al-Urfa. The Ar-Rahman one, my teacher told me. But I said, like the sister said now, one was Salat al-Urfa. It has Wayl al-Mutaffifin. So I tried to make my own one. But what's ajib is, my one I don't remember it properly. But the one the Shaykh told me, I remember it. But these things, when you're on your journey, brothers and sisters, don't look at what you're doing. When you get to the end and Allah benefits you and makes you a person who's nafi', a person who gives nafi' to the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you look back at your journey, subhanAllah, I'm so grateful to Allah that He allowed me to tread that path so early in my life. It's the best path that person can tread on. It's the most enlightened path that person can tread on. So this is inshallah ta'ala what the Shaykh is saying over here. وَعَلَيْكَ بِالْمُتَشَابِهَاتِ فَإِنَّهَا عَوْنٌ لِحِفْظِ الذِّكْرِ وَالتِّبْيَانِ. The Shaykh, he said after this, that the mutashabihat of the Quran, it is a karama. It's a karama for a person who is taking the Quran to be something valuable. SubhanAllah, look at this ayah, look at this ayah. Why did Allah say it? Why did Allah say it here? The same thing. He sees this to be something beautiful from the Quran. That the words of the Quran are so similar, the ayat are similar, but each one, it has its own halawa. When you reach this surah, it has a halawa. Surah Al-Munsalat has a halawa. Surah Al-Rahman has a different halawa. So a person who's traversing through the Quran and journeying through the Quran, the point is there's nobody like this person. Now,
27. If you forget or err too much, don't despair, for this from shaitan. 28. And if you completed the memorization, review the whole Quran in 7 days, following the example of your human prophet.
وإذا نسيت الحفظ أو كثر الخطأ لا تيأسا فلا من الشيطان. If a person makes mistakes and they err and they fall into khata, then don't feel in a state of despair. Don't feel down. First and foremost, this is normal. Every single person fell into it. Every single person before you, in the whole world, whoever memorized the Quran, they made a mistake here and there. You're no different. We live in an era of perfectionism. I have to be perfect. ما في perfectionism. جل من لا يخطئ. It's only Allah who doesn't make mistakes. Allah is perfect. حتى, I don't know if you've been educated about this here, but a lot of the scholars who, or mashayikh or du'as who translate the Arabic terms into English, they say that ihsan. How do you guys translate ihsan? See, some say perfection and the rest are excellence. They say perfection is not the right word. A lot of us, even myself, we were taught perfection. When we think about it, perfection isn't really the right word because who's perfect? Is anyone perfect? Can you actually be so perfect? If a person needs aim for perfection, but you won't be perfect, that's another thing. But make it perfect, you can't be perfect yet. Because you're not perfect. And the insan, you are a human being. Who's perfect? Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. So they say the better term to use in English is what? Excellence. Aim for excellence. Aim for ihsan. Prophet said, whatever you do, aim for. Even when you're slaughtering, aim for excellence. Aim for ihsan. Any action you do, aim for excellence. This is how the Muslim works. And this is the highest level. So you have Islam, you have Iman, you have ihsan. Ihsan is the highest. أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه فإن لم تكن تراه فإنه يراك. You worship Allah as if you can see Allah with excellence. Excellence. Not perfection, excellence. That you are standing and Allah can see you. As if Allah can see you. As if you can see Allah. And if you can't see Allah, know that Allah can see you subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Shaykh over here is saying this is from the shaitan. If you make mistakes, just get up and continue. Keep reviewing, keep repeating. The first time that you memorize it, it's not going to be perfect. It's going to take some time. But don't fall into despair. A lot of students, they do this, especially you older brothers and sisters, memorizing Quran. I deal with that. A lot of people come to me and they ask me, and I see them in this sense, where they feel like giving up because this is too hard. They see a little child memorizing Quran and they say, that's a little child, you are a big adult. There's a difference. And Imam Ibn Jawzi, rahimahullah ta'ala, Faraj, this Imam, this great Imam of that. At his time, he's the most senior scholar. He had a young boy, his son, called Yusuf. It was said that after he passed 8 years old, his son Yusuf, he began studying Al-Qur'an. And he said, I'm going to study with you. At 8 years old, the alim of the whole country, the whole land. A person has to remember that it may not be as easy as the young person, but I still can do it. Everyone can do it. So long as Allah gives you tawfiq, any age you are, you can learn the Quran. So if you see akhta coming here and there, be patient. And don't fall into despair. Now, 28.
28. And if you completed the memorization, review the whole Quran in 7 days, following the example of your human prophet.
So now the Shaykh is speaking about after you finish the Quran. So this is the problem, the manzuma. The Shaykh said this is what you should do, ikhlas, if you remember the first class, ikhlas, and make dua, etc. Find the Shaykh, correct Shaykh, do this template, do that template, stay away from this, stay away from that, make sure you have good friends, make sure you... It's a journey, take it through a journey. Now he goes to the end, after you finish your hifz. And it is a bishara, it's a glad tidings that this journey will end. It will end. It will end one day, it will finish. So the Shaykh is saying, once you finish, try to make your wird of the Quran, your daily Quranic review that you read, make it every 7 days you finish the Quran. Every 7 days you complete the whole Quran. So when you're hafiz, the Shaykh is saying this is what you should do. And the Shaykh is saying, following the example of your human prophets. And the Prophet ﷺ was a human. Bashar Rasulan, like the Quran mentions. Now this point where the Shaykh is saying, following the example of your Prophet ﷺ, Wallahu a'lam, this doesn't seem to be a nas that shows that the Prophet ﷺ used to read the Quran once every 7 days. What we do know is the Prophet ﷺ used to read a lot of Quran, a lot of dhikr. He used to remember Allah fi kulli ahyanihi or ala kulli ahyanihi. But is there a need, a nas that says he used to read the Quran once every 7 days? Not necessarily. But we have a nas that says, or we have reports or adhar that say that the Sahaba used to do that. The Sahaba, they used to do that. So that may mean that they saw the Prophet ﷺ doing that. But what we do know is that they used to do it. So the Sahaba doing this action is also a mushraf for you, that you are following the Sahaba in that way. The majority of the Sahaba of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to read the Quran once every week. If you can't read the Quran once every week, the scholars they say the minimum you should aim for as a hafiz is to finish the Quran once every 10 days. 3 juz a day. If you read less than that, according to the scholars of this field, your Quran will not be solid. You read 2 juz, you read 1 juz, it's still good, it's still khair. But you're going to be hafiz, mutqin, dabit, no you won't. There's going to be akhta everywhere. And we see this in Ramadan. You see this, especially with the males, right? The imams, because the males read as the salah. We see someone who comes and just, wow, the Quran is flowing. They just read anywhere of the Quran and you're like, mashallah. This brother knows the Quran good. And you see another one, the whole day he's revising for Taraweeh. He comes and he still makes mistakes after that. The whole day he's Muslim. He's walking up and down the house, walking on the street, tasbih, everyone tasbih. He comes and he's going to say, like, we're not trying to disencourage anyone. Maybe some of them are listening to us. We're not discouraging anyone. It is to show me that. One of the things that you may find here to be the case for you making mistakes is you revise the Quran more in Ramadan and less outside of Ramadan. If you read the Quran the whole year, Ramadan or no Ramadan, your Quran is the same. Your Quran is the same. That's what you need to aim for. That is a higher level. The Sahaba remember they used to just revise Quran in Ramadan and then leave it outside Ramadan. If anything, in Ramadan they used to take it to new heights. They used to read even more. And we used to find this even outside of the Sahaba. Shafi'i rahimahullah, he's reading 2 khatms of the Quran a day. 60 khatms in Ramadan. Bukhari is saying the same thing. Imagine that. It's not a normal thing. The one who Allah gives tawfiq to is the one who can do this. But you need to ensure that you start somewhere. So if you're happy with the Quran, aim for at least 3 days a day. 10 days you finish. 3 times a month. Then move on to more than that. And then if you could do even more than that, then do even more than that. There's different ways of reading the Quran. There's something known as at-tahqiq, something known as at-tadwir, something known as al-hadar. At-tahqiq is to read it muhaqqaqatan, mufassalatan, to read very slowly and clearly and take your time. Like how Shaykh Muhammad Khalid al-Husayri reads. Very slowly. That's the way of reading the Quran. There's a way called tadwir, which is moderate, in between. Like how the Imams normally read. In between, not too fast, not too slow. And there's al-hadar. Al-hadar is to read sari'an, ma'al ahkam. To read fast, peacefully, with ahkam. And this is correct. ويقرأ القرآن بالتحقيق مع حذر وتدوير وكل متبع مع حسن صوت بلحون العربي مجودا مرتلا بالعربي حذر سريعا. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض وجعل الظلمات والنور ثم الذين كفروا بربهم يعدلون. والذي خلقكم من طين ثم قضى أجلا وأجل مسمى عنده ثم أنتم تمترون. The ghunna is read, the mad is read, the letters are not intertwining, the letters can be heard. You can even make sense clearly of what he's saying, but it's a little bit faster. As for, we're not talking about that, that's wrong, that's khata. Something, that's not what the Shaykh is saying. That is not Quran, that's called a game. They play too many video games. But as for the one I showed, or something similar to that, there's nothing wrong with that. So if you read like that, you'll finish in just 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 8 minutes. So reading 5 minutes a day is not a big deal. If you finish a juice in 30 minutes, 5 juice will take how long? 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. That's easy. He doesn't sound like that. And you don't have to 2.5 hours one go. You can do it. Some in the morning, some in the evening, some in the evening, some in the afternoon, some in the evening. You can split it up. Remember, every single thing that we're going through here, if you've never done it before, it sounds crazy. You may say, he just said 2.5 hours is easy. To me, it's not easy, it doesn't sound easy. That's because you haven't done it yet. When you start doing it, inshallah ta'ala, you'll only do more and more, find it easier and easier, inshallah ta'ala. Now,
29. And heal yourself from hidden shirk and its evil, and purify yourself from grudges and hatred.
heal yourself from hidden shirk and its evil. Yeah, a person doesn't do an action for other people. Memorizing the Quran so people can praise you, people can do things with you, people can say things about you. You don't do that. You do it for Allah على السيك. تحفظ لوجه الله وليس لوجه الناس. Whatever people say, it comes and goes. Pleasing people should never be your goal in this world. When you try to please people, today they may please you, tomorrow they may hate you. That's how human beings are. Forget about people. And a lot of the Salaf, they would say that how do we know if a person is mukhlis? They say, I think I mentioned this already, they say praise and criticism is the same. If you praise me, if you criticize me, if you say something good, if you say something bad, jazakallah khair. Like, I didn't do it for you in the first place. Like, thank you so much. That's how it is. A lot of people get sad. Why did they say that about me? That's a sign that they're wrong for criticizing you, but you getting sad is also not a good sign as well. Let's say, the prophets will criticize Habib. They will criticize. They will criticize a lot, more than they criticize me. They will criticize so much. That's what we see to be. If criticism, some of them will say, the more you get of it, the more that it's a sign that Allah has given you qabul. You see? They say some of them even, if you're not criticized, that means you do something wrong. You've got to be criticized. They've got to say something. Allah says in the Quran, أَمْ يَحْسُدُونَ النَّاسَ عَلَى مَا آتَاهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ فَقَدْ آتَيْنَا آلَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ وَآتَيْنَاهُمْ مُلْكًا عَظِيمًا. Are they giving hasad to the people and being envious towards them because of fadl that Allah gave them? So when people are envious towards you, they say things about you, it means you have something. Because if you didn't have nothing, they wouldn't waste their time or breath on you. And that's a nice way to understand. People who are just running their mouth against other people for no reason, بِغَيْرِ حَقٍّ. It just means that these people are jealous, spiteful people, and their hearts are impure. And it means you have something good in your heart. So what do? You seek refuge with Allah from their problems. Oh Allah, we seek refuge with you from their evil. Oh Allah, protect us from their evil and their bad. And you do not retaliate. The Prophet, he said that when a person cuts you, you go back to them, give them salam. If a person is rude to you, you be good to them. If a person does evil to you, do good to them. وَأَحْسِنْ إِلَى مَنْ أَسَاءَ إِلَيْكَ. Do good to the one that does bad to you. But if you retaliate, then you say something, you say, oh, you look like this, you look like this, or you're this, and you're also this, then you're both the same. And when people are watching, they say that they both look like they're crazy people. Both of them. They don't like what they're doing. But when they see the other person, the Prophet was like that. The mushrikun would come to them, they would bring a lot of arguments that have no basis and no weight. The Prophet would say nothing. Then the haqq is with him. He would say, أَفَرَغْتَ and you finish. Or would you want to say more? And finish. The Prophet will read it from the Quran. So don't worry about people saying things about you. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُدَافِعُ عَنِ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Allah is the one who defends the believers. And your haqq will be returned back to you in the dunya wa al-akhirah. But over here, this was a tangent from the point of the Shaykh, which is, those same people tomorrow they can come and eat you. And eat you alive. So don't do anything for them. You aim to please Allah and have Allah Jalla wa Ala accept this action. So stay away from the shirk and khafi.
Thirdly, do not ever wait for praise or material benefit from anyone, for everything will undoubtedly perish. 31. Walk with humility and wear good clothes. Perfume yourself with musk and sweet fragrance.
سر خاشعا والبس ثيابا طيبا متطيبا بالطيب والريحان. The Shaykh is saying now some of the sifat, we are at the end of the text, some of the sifat and the characteristics of the person of the Quran. Walk with humility. Be a person who walks with humility. It was read today by the Imam Salat al-Fajr, وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا. The servants of Ar-Rahman are those who work on the earth with humility. So this is the general Muslim. أنت حامل القرآن. You are طالب القرآن. You have to do even more of this. You have to be a humble person. People of the Quran are, or they should be, the most humble people on earth. The most humble people on earth. The way you walk, the way you talk, is all with humility. Something that I think worth mentioning over here. I don't think your community does it. It's good to have good good opinions. But in the UK, it's too much. It's not just present, it's too much. The Shabab that walk, they call it over there, what is it when they just walk like a bit wrong? You don't have a name for him? They call it something in England. غريب ويلك. And you're looking at this person and it's like, yeah, I'm half. I didn't know that's how I've never seen anything like it before. Remember, how you carry yourself, when people see you, it will remind them of, something will come to their mind. They will see you, listen to you, watch you, observe you, and they'll either get a good impression or they'll get one that's not good. So your walk has to be like that. إنك لن تخرق الأرض ولا تمشي في الأرض مرحا إنك لن تخرق الأرض ولن تبلغ الجبال طولا. Don't walk on the earth of Allah in this manner of kibr and being boastful and being prideful. Don't walk on the earth of Allah like this. You will never be able to pierce the earth and you will never be able to reach the mountains in height. What is it to be having kibr? So walk with humility, talk with humility, behave with humility. And the one who does this, don't be your pushover. Allah will raise you. من تواضع لله رفعه. Anybody who lowers himself for Allah, Allah will raise him. The Quran says, وَخْفِضْ جَنَاحَكَ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. There's so many nusus. Lower your wings towards the believers. So a person has to be like this. This is how the Sahaba were. The people, they loved Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, because this is how he was. They loved Umar, they loved Uthman, this is how he was. Uthman was known for this area. So a person has to ensure that they're like this as much as possible. The Shaykh said, ensure that you wear good clothes. Good clothes. So good clothes means clean clothes. Good clothes means clothes that are appropriate, la'iq. Sometimes the clothes are clean, but they're not appropriate. Clothes means that it covers your body properly. Good clothes. Everything about it is good. Even the colors, it's not like too revealing, etc. You ensure that you wear the best of clothes. You also ensure that you perfume yourself with musk and fragrance. It's good that you look after yourself. The Prophet used to love musk, he used to love fragrance a lot. حبب إليه من دنياكم الطيب والنساء وجعلت قرة عيني في الصلاة. And this is what the Ummah love as well, to smell nice. A person ensures as much as possible they're smelling nice. Their body smells nice, their clothing smells nice. Now,
32. Take a siwak and dried cloves in your mouth, keeping yourself clean for the sweetness of the Quran.
The Shaykh said, وَخُذِ السِّوَاكَ مَعَ الْقُرُنفُلِ فِي فَمِكَ. Make sure you use the siwak. So now he's talking about your mouth as well. So make sure your mouth is fresh. So you can use toothbrush and all of this, but the Shaykh takes siwak. And the siwak is sunnah. السواك مطهرة للفم مرضاة للرب. The siwak, it purifies and gives fragrance to the mouth and cleans the mouth, and it's also pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet ﷺ used to love the siwak. لولا أن أشق على أمتي لأمرتهم بالسواك عند كل صلاة وفي رواية عند كل وضوء. If I wasn't worried that the siwak and commanding them to use it at every prayer and every wudu would have been hard for them, I would have told them to do this. The Prophet ﷺ used to use the siwak every single time. Even just before he passed away, he was using the siwak. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The siwak is important. Use your other one if you want, but have a siwak. Make it a part of you. Have it with you. Carry it with you when you go to the masjid, pray in jama'ah, read in the Quran. And طبعا we are in the bab of the Quran now. So from the benefits that we take from this is, if you're not cleaning your teeth and you read the Quran to the Shaykh, giving the Shaykh a hard time. Sometimes the brothers and sisters, they're reading and they want to put a nice voice, they open it up too much, and then a lot of hawa comes to the Shaykh. So clean your mouth, yeah. Make sure your mouth is clean. The Miskeen Shaykh sitting there all day, and sometimes the Shaykh will do this, and then you don't know, you're thinking the Shaykh, he doesn't like my voice, let me speak louder. Because he's not going to say your questions. And he should be good Shaykh as well. So don't give the shuyukh a hard time. That's the point over here. طبعا الفائدة that we mentioned, we've done the تعليق on this text before, is siwak is not really practiced by a lot of people in general. But then it's found, generally speaking, that the sisters practice it even less. So this is a reminder for everybody to use it. The Sheikh said, use al-qurunful as well. Cloves. Cloves are very, as you know, we use it in our teas as well, a lot of the time. Somali tea, masala tea, Pakistani tea, Karak tea. By the way, it's all the same. All of them are the same. They just, some have more tea bags, some have less milk, some have, but if you pay attention, same ingredients, same everything, it's all the same. But every single country wants to say, this is my tea, it's called masala tea, this was Somali tea, this was Karak tea. Really and truly, it's all the same. We use Quran, we use cloves. So this is something nice to use as well. Some of them they say it's like an antibiotic as well, it's very good. So try to use it as well. Keeping yourself clean, the Shaykh said, for the sweetness of the Quran. Now,
33. And leave off detestable deeds, vices, and disputes. Don't deal with your acts like a child. 34. Do not recite the Quran in evil places, like the places of people of perversion and disobedience.
don't recite the Quran in evil places. كمكان أهل الفسق والعصيان. The evil places, don't recite the Quran there. It's very bad. Haram is taking place. These places, the Shaykh is saying, it's not maybe the best place to read the Quran. احترام للقرآن. From the places also that's similar to this is like a toilet. We know we don't read Quran in there. So read the Quran in places that's not befitting. That's the best way to put it. Any place that you feel from your heart, it's not befitting to have the Quran here or to read the Quran here. Don't. No.
35. Do not beg with the Quran, rather live by it. Like an honorable man, not cowardly.
If Allah has made the people of the Quran the most honorable people, you have to live honorably. Don't beg people with Quran. So we're at the end of the text now. We went from starting off the journey to now, what do you do after you become a person of Quran? Don't beg people with Quran. A person will say, you want me to come to your investment, your event, you want me to read Quran, I'm a qari, etc., 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 or I need this amount of money. Is that agreement? If you don't give it to me, I'm not even coming. So he's wrong. But then you find a lot of organizations that are also wrong because they will agree to it. And they'll bring this person. You see, a gift, there's nothing wrong with a gift. And most likely they'll give you a gift anyway. But what you're doing right now, you're saying my services is at this price. And your service is the Quran. And it's khatir jiddan. A person doesn't do that. ولذلك, brothers and sisters, differentiate between Quran and Ahl al-Quran. Even when you look at the ahadith, they're different. قراء أهل القرآن أول من تسعر بهم النار يوم القيامة القراء. The first people are employed in the Jahannam will be the Qur'an. Allah didn't say, the Prophet didn't say Ahl al-Quran. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala yu'adhibu ahlahu. You've seen a person who punishes his own people? Would you punish your own family, your children, your mom and dad, wife, put them in Jahannam? You wouldn't do that. Allah has a مثل الأعلى ولله المثل الأعلى. Ahl al-Quran, the ones who are mukhlisun, that's dead different. They will have the highest maqamat and the highest stations of Jannah, inshallah. But these people over here that are just making the Quran a career, a job, something that they used to, and this is something which is dangerous. So the Shaykh is saying, you live as a person who's honorable, and do not beg with the Quran. And the A'immah were like this before. The A'immah, they were like this. They never used to take anything from the Quran. And Imam Hamza, rahimahullah ta'ala, one of the scholars of the past, one time he was walking in the desert, and he was walking and very thirsty, very hungry, and had no food, no drink. And he really needed a drink, it was very hot. So he saw a man coming from afar, very far. He walked towards him, he was happy, he said, this man, inshallah, is going to give me some water. When he came towards him, he looked at him, it was one of his students. He said, no, I'm not going to take from you. The student said, why, Sheikh, you need water, you're sweating so much. He was dehydrated, let me give you some water. He said, no, I'm worried that if you give me water, you are my student. The Quran I taught you and the water that you give me is going to be you recompensing me. Look at how we used to do it. That's how they used to do it. Look at how we became now. We lost our way a little bit. The later people, we lost our way. That's why Imam Malik and others from the scholars used to say, nothing will rectify the later part of this ummah except that which rectified the earlier part, which is the Quran. Taking this Quran as a dastur, as a kitab that you follow and you hold onto and you buy it with your mawla teeth and you follow the way you're meant to follow it. With the takhaddaq media, you follow its admonitions and its messages and you follow it correctly, then the person, inshallah ta'ala, will never fall into these things and trying to make the book of Allah something which they sell for them and in bukhs. Yeah, will do this. Rather, they hold the Quran in high esteem. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will reward you and provide for you and give you more than He gives to other people, inshallah ta'ala, so long as you are a sincere person. Now,
36. Suffice yourself with the Quran in this world of people and ask for aid from the Creator, the Owner of mercy. 37. The Quran was sent down, O my people, so that you live by it. It was not revealed for occasions of adornment or grief.
the Quran was not revealed for occasions of adornment or grief. لم يأتي للزينات والأحزان. The Quran was not revealed by Allah, so you just decorate your house and you have different, in this room you have Ayat al-Kursi, in this room you have Yasin, in this room you have ما في مشكلة يعني, you don't want to be متشدد as well. But is that المقصود الأعظم? Just decorate your house and your car? And it's not like that. Allah didn't reveal the Quran for this. Allah revealed the Quran لِتَعْمَلُوا بِهِ, so you implement the Quran. And the Shaykh said it wasn't revealed لِلْأَحْزَانِ. A lot of countries, some countries, they have this culture. When people pass away, they just read the Quran. And not just read the Quran like that, if that sounds like it's innocent. But they make an event where it's just Quran being recited. The Quran wasn't revealed for that. It was not revealed for that. So a person doesn't engage in things that haven't been legislated in religion. Can you do random things in religion, by the way? Can you? You can't, right? Everything you have to follow. Allah, Rasulullah, right? Can a person just do random sajda? Oh, sajda. Can you do that? No, you can't. Everything has to be. كذلك over here, a person can't just say, I'm just going to randomly do this and we feel like doing. It's not like that. If you want to help the millions right now, there are things, so many things that the Sharia says you could do for the millions. Do those things. But don't do things that have no basis, no marjah. Because sometimes you feel like you're doing good, but because you have taken a path, the path of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is only going to come back to harm you later. So a person doesn't do this. No.
38. O bearer of the Quran, read and assent. Recite, for you are the godly believer.
This is a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. يا حامل القرآن فاقرأ وارتقي رتل فأنت المؤمن الركان. اقرأ وارتقي. الحديث عبد الله بن عمرو بن العاص يقال لصاحب القرآن يوم القيامة اقرأ وارتقي ورتل كما كنت ترتل في الدنيا فإن منزلتك عند آخر آية تقرأها. The person who lived in this way by the Quran in this world, he tried his best, she tried her best to remain close to the words of Allah, to remain close to Allah, to bond with Allah through his speech. This person, Yawm al-Qiyamah, look at the sharaf, look at the izzah, look at the reward, and look at how much Allah will dignify them Yawm al-Qiyamah. They will be told, only them, it will be sent to the sahib of the Quran. If you're not sahib of the Quran, you won't be given. Sahib is a friend. A friend is someone that you know, you speak with, you have a relationship with. This person, because they have a relationship with the Quran, they'll be told, Yawm al-Qiyamah, iqra wartaqi, read, ascend, climb. Every ayah you read, you go up the daraja in Jannah. The last place you reach is the last ayah you reach. Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, she said that the ayat of the Quran and the stations of Jannah are the same. So when you get to the last ayah, you get to the last place. So if you know just Juz Amma, you go to Juz Amma level in Jannah. If you know Juz Amma and Tabarak and Baqarah, you go to Juz Amma, Tabarak and Baqarah. If you know the whole Quran, you go to the highest place. If you know the Quran, the riwayat and the qira'at, this is khayr upon khayr that you can't imagine. You go to the highest place. This is the reward that Allah wants to give the people of the Quran. And He wants to make it exclusive to them only. Because if we give a reward to everybody, the exclusivity is lost. If we give it to a qawm, we give it to a group, it's because of their efforts and what they did to show everyone that that is the special group that everybody should aim to be for. It's a hadith of the Prophet. This is from the niyyah that a person has, the niyyat, the intentions. I look at this hadith and say, I want to memorize with ikhlas. I look at this hadith and say, that's what I want to do it for. I want to do it for a special place in Jannah. This is like a confirmation, inshallah, if you do the right thing, that not only would you go into Jannah, you're going to be in the highest place. So a person, he intends this. Now,
39. In fact, you are the best of people, as the chosen one said in the hadith narrated by Uthman.
this is also a hadith of the Prophet said narrated by Uthman, Sahih al-Bukhari. Famous hadith, خيركم من تعلم القرآن وعلمه. The best of you Muslims is the one who learns the Quran and teaches it. Reminder after reminder, hadith after hadith. This is Bukhari, it's not a normal narration. This hadith, there's no dispute, no scholar will ever say it's weak. It is like Bukhari. A person says, subhanAllah, the best of the Muslims or learns the Quran teaches it, I need to do that. I want to be the best Muslim. I want to be the best Muslim. I want to be the best person ever. And this is how you do it. This is your path. So you learn the Quran and you teach it. It doesn't say learn the Quran or teach it. It's a shubha. A lot of people, they share this. Learn or teach. It's not learn or teach. It's learn and teach. Firstly, the text, the hadith says, learn and teach. Secondly, you can't teach if you haven't learned. Why are you teaching if you haven't learned anything? And if you've learned and you haven't taught, then you're not giving your dues. وَلِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ زَكَاةً وَزَكَاةُ الْعِلْمِ تَعْلِيمُهُ. Everything has a zakah. Everything has zakah you need to pay. And the zakah of knowledge is to teach it. If you don't teach it, then you're not doing the right thing. And if you teach it without learning, then you're doing the wrong thing. So a person has to ensure that they take the correct steps. I learn, I spend time, even if it takes me a few years, then I can teach the people after. And here I want to give a nasiha. Every time I get to this place, I give a nasiha wherever I go through this text. And this is the nasiha, I don't know if it's common here in this country, this city, but I know in the UK where I'm from, it's common. There's a lot of brothers and sisters that put themselves forward to teach in madrasa. Now this is a good thing, if you're fit to teach. And it's a bad thing if you're not fit to teach. Firstly, we don't have a shortage of teachers on the other hand. There's teachers everywhere, all over the globe that can teach Quran, working on Quran. But if you are, for example, a university student, or right now you're unemployed, and you just want extra income, but you know you don't even know the Quran properly, my message is fattaqullah. Fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's better for you to go and work in, I heard there's a shop called Napoleon. Go work there. Napoleon supermarket. It's a supermarket. What's your supermarket called? I think they tricked me yesterday. They said it's a supermarket called Napoleon. I think they just wanted to say that in the Dutch, so I get it. What's your supermarket there called? Walmart. Any supermarket. Walmart. Go work in Walmart. Just don't sell khamr or khanzir. But do something. And the point is, you are not ahl. You are not a person who has learned hatta tu'allim, for you to teach. A person will say to me, okay, that's okay, strong. Does he mean that we can't teach anything? No, I don't mean that. I mean, teach what you know. So what does that mean? I know how to teach alibata, I know how to teach qa'ida numaniya, I know how to teach fatha, kasra, dhamma, zabar, pesh, all that stuff. I can teach that, but you teach that. Don't teach Surah Al-Baqarah or you don't even know how to read Surah Al-Baqarah from the Mus'haf. Don't sit there in the class holding the Mus'haf, having a child in front of you that their parents sent to the madrasa, and you are not qualified. Go spend some time, learn the Quran and come back. Why do I say this? Because in England it's very common. It's all signed up for madrasa because the madrasa will just hire anyone. And that's madrasa's fault as well. But this is something you have to pay a lot of attention to, inshallah.
Now, 40. My Lord, pardon me if I err, for I am a weak servant destined to perish. 41. And if I was right, it is thanks to you alone, my Creator. You are the noble, vast in forgiveness. 42. This poem was compiled by Muhammad ibn Abdul Hassan. Ennoble him, O one favoring goodness.
So this is the end of the text. The Shaykh, he asked Allah for forgiveness if he has made any mistake. He said because he's abdun da'ifun, he's a weak servant. We are all weak servants, all of us make mistakes. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept this dua from the Shaykh and to forgive him for any mistakes that he may have made, and to accept from him the good that he has done in his work, and to accept from us as well what we have learnt, and to forgive us also for our mistakes in anything we have done or shared or explained and we done incorrectly. We're all human beings, and anything that may have been taken incorrectly from yourselves, for Allah to forgive every single one of us. And he said in line 41 that if he was right, فَمِنْكَ وَحْدَكَ خَالِقِي, it's only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. مَا أَصَابَكَ مِنْ حَسَنَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ, any good that you do is from Allah. وَمَا أَصَابَكَ مِنْ سَيِّئَةٍ فَمِنْ نَفْسِكَ, any bad that you do is from yourself. So he's saying any good that I have done is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's how brothers and sisters should be all the time. Not just say that, but believe that in your heart. Anyone praises you with something, brothers and sisters, you always say, it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's the one who has allowed you to see good in me. And he's the one that's covered from me all of my imperfections and my mistakes. If you want to see my imperfections and mistakes, you will never ever come near me, let alone praise me. The ulama of the past used to say things like that. They say sins used to have a own and own could be salah. If you knew who I really was, you would not even come anywhere near me. That's what they would say. So all the good that we have is Allah. أظهر الجميل. He has presented and shown everybody the good of us. وستر القبيح. And He's concealed our evil and our shortcomings that we have. The Shaykh, he said, نظم الكلام محمد ibn Abi al-Hasan. He said, Muhammad ibn Abi al-Hasan, the name of the Shaykh, he's the one who wrote this text. He made dua, and he said, أكرمه يا ذا الفضل والإحسان. Oh Allah, honor him and grant him goodness. Now, let's do the last 3 lines there.
43. And his companions in the assembly of reciting the Ascend, forgive them with the intention of the Quran. 44. As well as every teacher and reciter, bestow upon them the grace of their satisfaction. 45. Only blessings upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam at every moment and second of patience.